back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a Avatar, not deep dive, I guess just an Avatar dive. Now, if you have never seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, where have you been? Have you been under a rock? I'm going to be doing a recap of each season. So this is season number 1 recap. And we have so much to get into because these kids are so fucking annoying the first season. How did I not realize this when I was a kid? I also have notes on paper, of course. I don't know why. I just like paper. I don't know. So I'm going to get into each character as the show progresses, and then also like my theories on certain things that happen. But mind you, this is my second run through as an adult, so I see things a lot differently than through the lens of a child. So if you haven't rewatched the show, you need to rewatch the show. I also don't want to hear anything about Legend of Korra. Get that trash out of here. So let's start. So, of course, the show starts out with some 12-year-olds fighting, 2 siblings, of course, Sokka and Katara fighting, and that's how they find the Avatar, right? Well, I think they're all 12, because I know Aang is 12, but I'm just assuming that Katara and Sokka are as well, because they're the youngest, right? And then Zuko's like 16, 15, 16, something like that. But yeah, so that's how the show starts. And coming out of the literal iceberg, the first thing that Aang says is, you want to go penguin sledding with me? Like, it really puts into perspective his mindset because they are children. So I try to keep that in mind while I'm literally explaining the show and watching the show. But they are so unserious. Like, they have no sense of immediate danger at all. Like, those spidey senses are not tingling in these kids at all. So that's my biggest issue with season 1, is that they literally, for the entire season, are just fucking around. And I get that they're kids, but can we get serious? Like, Zuko literally comes into the picture, episode 2 or something, and tries to kill Aang. And then they're like, that was weird. And then go back to messing around. Like, there's not literal imminent danger. So after Zuko tries to kill Aang, they go to the air temple, and we find out that Aang's dad is dead, which was so sad. I had a breakdown. He had a breakdown. And in that breakdown, he went into the spirit realm for the first time. So they see that and they realize like something's happening, but they don't know if that's important yet. So they're going through life with all these like occurrences and important events happening, but they're not like putting the clues together in season 1 at all. Literally. After that, they go to Kyoshi Island, and that's when he sees Avatar Kyoshi, and they realize that he's the Avatar, and they throw the big party because Kyoshi's return, right? So then he starts getting that like recognition, right? Because before that, he learned that he was the Avatar and then just ran away. So he has no idea what it's like to be the Avatar. So then he starts, you know, being a 12-year-old and talking to all the girls on the island. And at this point, they're separated. All of them, which they constantly do. And it's so annoying because they have no team dynamic at all. So they all separate. Aang's off with the girls. Angie, right? And then Katara is still trying to like gather things and keep them moving on to the next thing. And Sokka, we'll get into that child, but Sokka goes off and learns how to battle like a Kyoshi warrior, right? So they all separate, and it's good for Aang's image, but that whole time they spent in Kyoshi, he was literally doing nothing. He wasn't even being trained.
He could have been trying to practice whatever Katara knew. Katara didn't really know nothing.
Yeah, in the start, Katara does not know how to waterbend that well at all. So let's get into their personalities, season 1, because they do change over that course of 3 months. Crazy. So Aang is rude as shit, especially to Katara. He's like every step of the way he's degrading her. First, he's talking about like her waterbending, right? Because she's not as good as him. Okay, cool. You're the Avatar. And then just they get to Kyoshi Island, he literally leaves her in the dust. Goodbye, right? And every step of the way, this just continues, even past season 1. But he claims to love her. Very strange behavior. Okay, Sokka is a misogynist. That's all I have to say on that. And then when he gets beat up by Suki at the Kyoshi Island and then learns how to become a Kyoshi warrior, that's when his growth starts, but it's very slow. And it only happens when he's around a new girl. Then Katara is angry as hell. And I feel like her growth doesn't start until after she cusses out her dad. And I feel like a lot of you need to do the same. Maybe you'd feel a little bit better. So after that excursion at the Kyoshi Island, they move on finally to Omashu. And my question is, did Aang not know that King Bumi was going to become a king? Like when they were friends, and did he not realize he was the prince of that earth kingdom? Because he does not recognize King Bumi, but even if he doesn't recognize them, how come he didn't realize that, you know, he's the king? My friend was supposed to be king. How did that work? And my only thought is that they were kids and they weren't like, here's my title, especially because Aang didn't know he was going to be the Avatar yet. So they were just kids playing around the city, like they didn't know about each other that deeply. I don't know. That was a little hole in the story, I guess. So of course King Bumi puts him through that whole test and trial run, which he never put them in danger at all. When you actually watch the show and you realize that, like, he never actually put them in harm's way, which is good and bad because they are in harm's way. Like, they're children, so they don't realize that, you know, they can die. The Avatar almost died so many times, and he's the only Avatar, so like they do not have this concept of danger at all, season 1. So he puts them through that test, and then he gives them some sort of direction, right? Because they don't know what they're doing. They're literally just running around the town, back and forth, not actually learning anything, doing anything, because they don't know what's going on. So he gives them their timeline, and he gives them direction. So they have 3 months, right? That's when they learn that. They have 3 months. So the summer. And why do they spend all of it just messing around? After that, Aang finally starts to realize what his role is as the Avatar in keeping balance within all of the nations and the spirit realm. So he starts to help villages along the way, and then also help spirits, like when they are in the forest and the forest is burnt down by the Fire Nation, because that's mainly everybody's issue, is the Fire Nation. So the woods were burned down by the Fire Nation and it didn't regrow. So then the spirit took Sokka and was like, you know, get my land back together. But the issue with this is Aang does not believe in himself at all. Like, he's so afraid of himself. And it's very interesting to watch because even when he goes into the spirit realm, right, he meets an animal spirit, right? And he's immediately scared shitless. And it comes to find out it's Roku's dragon, right? So, like, this is your dragon. Like, why would you immediately assume that this animal is trying to hurt you? You know? And then after he sees Roku, talks with Roku about, you know, keeping balance within the spirit realm and what he needs to do for this village, he then is returned to his body and is scared. Like, the dragon is putting him back in his body and he's scared. Like, why are you so scared of, one, everything, two, yourself? Then Katara realizes that she needs to get better at her water bending, as well as Aang does too. I feel like they really be focusing on Katara when Aang is the one who really needs to save the day at the end of the day. But yeah, this is when they meet Jet and his crew, and my girl did not stand a chance. She immediately fell for this toxic ass man, of course. And then that's when we realize that they have no sense of team at all. Like, their team is very weak, and so are their communication skills, because Sokka tells Katara that
multiple times.
multiple times that Jet is a bad man. He's a bad man. I don't like him. He's a bad man. What's that from? He tells her, and she's like, no, you're wrong.
My Jet would never do that.
You chose this man over family is crazy. I can understand if Aang was like, he's not right. Like, okay, maybe he's jealous. Whatever, cool. Your brother, bitch, he has your best interest in hand. That was crazy. So that's when we start to see that their team dynamic is shit. Okay. And does it get better towards season 3? So that's that. Of course, finally she realizes that she's being stupid. Breaks up with Jet, whatever, move on. Once more, no team dynamic at all because Aang tries to learn the elements out of order and hurts Katara in the process. So then there's, separation within the team again. Also because Katara and Sokka receive like a piece of mail from, I think, their dad. And Aang literally hides it because he thinks they're going to leave him. That separation anxiety is crazy. They then hear, Aang hears that there are possible airbender sightings at the northern airbending temple. So they head over there and then they come to find out that they're not airbenders and that there's a scientist there who has been constructing these like air machines to help his disabled son fly. Right. And Aang gets pissed off because they are literally ruining the air temple. So he gets angry about that and then come to find out that they're also building weapons for the Fire Nation. So that's a huge issue. And then this is when they had a big fight with the Fire Nation, and the Fire Nation also in the end gets fire balloons. So that's not great. Y'all literally gave them a weapon. Whatever. And in that episode, we realized that the Fire Nation is literally so far ahead of everybody else because they have all these weapons of mass destruction that they're using on every other kingdom, right? And no other kingdom can fight back because they're not strong enough and they don't have the technology yet. It's literally colonialism in Asia. That's crazy. And they go to the Northern Water Tribe because they want to get back on track, I guess. Finally. Katara cannot learn from the instructor, however, because she's a girl. What? So then he doesn't teach her until he finds out that her grandmother is the woman he was supposed to marry. Then he's like, okay, I guess you can learn. Okay.
She also got to learn how to heal, which is something she needs to do, especially as a waterbender.
That is very true. So yes, after learning that she can't learn how to waterbend, she does learn how to heal, which is really good because she has to heal a lot of people, honestly, not even just Aang after that. So that was a very crucial thing for her to learn. She learned everything about waterbending, actually, which was really good. She literally learned, we'll learn later, bloodbending, and then also how to, make water out of thin air. So those are all really good things that she did learn. Yeah, that was a lot of good things that she did learn. So that's when she learns to heal. And then this shit just goes crazy. So after that, the Fire Nation finds Aang, of course. So then they start attacking. They send every single person in the military to go find him. And they lose. What's that tell you? You guys suck. So they go to find Aang, try to kill all the waterbenders, Aang, all of it, right? Then Aang is like, oh my god, what am I supposed to do? So he's trying to find the moon spirit because it's about to be a full moon. No one cracks open a history book at all here. Because if they had, they would have known the moon spirit was the fish. Or if they had asked somebody, like, why is no one communicating around here?
The girl that they went with was quite literally the girl who lived or died originally, came back because of the moon spirit.
Yeah. But they didn't ask her where the moon spirit were. They were just like, we're going to do our own thing.
They didn't say anything. She left and got help.
Literally.
She said, they're losing. I need to go somewhere.
Yes. Like, if you had said, hey, the moon spirit is here, he would have been able to realize that and protect it instead of what had happened, which was the Fire Nation knew that the moon spirit was the fish. Fucking tried to kill the fish. They killed the fish. Moon gone, right? So now the firebenders are the strongest. They start wiping out the waterbenders, and Aang is stolen by Zuko during all of this chaos, right? Let's talk about Zuko. Zuko does not think. Zuko does not think. Zuko does not plan. Zuko does not have a brain of his own. Well, so he steals Aang, is in the middle of the Arctic while it's storming, finds a cave, is like, okay, when it stops storming, I'm gonna kill him. How you gonna get out of here? You don't even have a boat waiting for you out there.
There's no food, there's no water. He's just over here, breath of fire, because he's cold as fuck.
Literally, that his uncle had to teach him. His uncle had to tell him, remember your breath of fire, it'll save you. Because his uncle knew that he was gonna do some dumb shit and he don't listen. So then, literally almost dies and kills the Avatar. They find Aang, right? Because he comes back from the spirit realm so they can see him. Find him, save him and Zuko. Aang saves Zuko. Right?
Crazy.
So then they get back and they're like, oh, the fish is dead. And then the girl, what was her name? I don't even remember the girl name. The moon girl. She's like, hey, I was a part of the moon spirit because he saved me as a baby, whatever. She becomes the fish. After Suki, this was Sokka's what? Second girlfriend? Gone.
Rip Sokka's love life.
No, literally, like, that's so much trauma. The girl I love turned into a fish. Oh, okay. So then Aang gets pissed off and becomes a fish spirit, right? And destroys the Fire Nation. Lost. Boo. 0-1. So then afterwards, they finish learning waterbending. So now they have that under their belt. Okay, so now he's learned air and water. Move on, right? You would think, no, why would they? That's literally season 1. And the biggest takeaways for me is that Aang needs to learn to trust himself because you're going to get yourself killed, right? The team dynamic needs to get better, which does it. They are literally so far up their own asses that they don't realize that, like, we need to stick together. Every 5 seconds, they're like, oh, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go over here. What are y'all doing? That's going to get you killed. Right? So again, they don't realize that they are literally in harm's way at every single step of the way. And Zuko has such a inner fight amongst himself. And we realize why later on, of course. But him just being dumb, just going like, I need to please father. I need to please father. Daddy, why daddy not proud? That shit is just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And of course he comes out of it finally. But those are the main takeaways for me. Season 1, they're just so annoying. They're just so annoying. But yeah.
There was no team dynamics.
At all.
He was traveling with 2 siblings.
Yeah.
The siblings were arguing the whole time.
Literally. That's how they found him, is by arguing. They're arguing the whole time. So instead of it would just be Sokka and Katara arguing, then Aang gets brought in. So now they're all arguing like, it's so annoying. And I get they're 12, whatever. But you literally have to save the world.
They went to
Ooh, boohoo.
And King Boomy literally told them, well, you have a waterbender here.
Yeah.
Go find our earthbender.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
They don't listen. No one listens. These kids do not listen. They get instructions. They're like, anyways. You know what sounds fun?
Penguin sledding down.
Okay, so that's all for my recap of season 1. I'm also going to make a part 2 and part 3 for those seasons. So please stay tuned. And I will see you guys in my next video.
They went to explore abandoned Fire Nation ship, set off a flare to let them know where they
Yeah.
were. That's how this started, bro.
Yeah.
Go sit your ass.
Yeah. The Fire Nation did find them after that. I forgot about that because I was like, how did they know he was back alive and shit? They did set that off.